Rivers State Governor Fubara has begun to receive admission into his school of political mathematics, where he uses AI, artificial intelligence, in dismantling his political opponents without them having a trace of what would befall them.
While you go about supporting me, maintain law and order. Be peaceful. I'm a peaceful person, but let me correct something that your founder said. He said, you know, I cannot fight. Well, you know, when you don't know somebody, just they have different ways to fight. Even if it's physical fight, I think I still have the capacity. But some battle are not physical. Are not the one you flex muscle. It's the one you use AI to follow. And when you use AI, it's the AI that I'm using that is keeping them restless. Simplicity movement!
Our first student happens to be the governor of Bauchi State, Governor Bala Mohammed. Just after receiving 2 classes from Fubara, Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State, has testified to the wonders we are performing in the academy.
Meanwhile, the Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has commended Governor Siminalayi Fubara's creativity in solving what could have been a constitutional crisis in the administration of local governments in Rivers State. Governor Mohammed stated this while addressing journalists after observing the swearing-in ceremony of the 23 local government chairmen elected yesterday. The Bauchi State Governor, who is the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, said, although the party did not win any of the chairmanship seats, it is important that Governor Fubara takes such a bold decision.
He didn't have the structure of the party in the state for certain reasons, and he had to go out and make sure he allows other parties to participate within the political space so that there won't be any vacuum. And I think this is very auspicious, that is very, very creative, and I'm very, very proud of him. Again, he has established himself as a governor and the pride of all the governors of Nigeria. At the subnational level, you cannot just ignore a governor. A governor is the chief executive. He can do anything. He can spring surprises because the Nigerian state is run by governors at the subnational level. Even the federal government is a tenant. Nigerians live in the states and in local governments. And that's why what he did to me is very, very proactive and creative, irrespective of the fact that he knew his party would lose. But certainly, because of his deep democratic instincts, he had to allow the other parties to win. And I would just wish that those who have won will find it in their own modesty to give him support. Governor Fubara is the vice chairman. All the governors are with him. And certainly we are taking steps to ensure reconciliation. Reconciliation with somebody whom they have started with, the former governor of this state and the minister of FCT, is a must because certainly they have come a long way. And we didn't want to throw away the baby with the bathwater.
Just after receiving 2 lectures from Fubara, Bauchi State Governor have this to say about the school's credibility and ability to inculcate into you the political wherewithal to dismantle your opponents using artificial intelligence. Note that our admission form, including our school fees, is very expensive. Quality is not cheap anywhere globally.
Give us an assessment of the River State local government elections. How will you classify it? Will you classify it as a free, fair, credible, or should we just say just the way the governor used to say, the jungle don't mature?
I think it was the governor's own form of political solution. In terms
political solution?
Yes, to increase his strength in the contest for power in River State. And I think, for me, the election represents a tactical victory for him but it may not be a strategic victory. In the sense that there are still other many rivers to cross. The questions we need to ask are many. The people that won the local government elections, were they actually members of APP? Were they registered members? Or they were registered members of PDP and APP at the same time? Did the election process, did it follow the River State Electoral Commission's own laws? Okay. In terms of displays of voters list, in terms of, I've just read the law now. Did they follow that process? I also think that for a sitting governor, for you to have lost less than 2 years, the structure of the party that brought you to power, I think it's a tactical defeat for him. Then the other question we need to ask ourselves, will the governor remain in PDP or he will cross over to APP? How will the governor work with the members of the State Assembly, who by law supposed to, they have their own role to play in terms of approving your budget, in terms of a lot of things that they need to do. Because about 95% of the House of Assembly are not controlled by him. Then the other question is this: if the outcome of this election is taken to the law court, and if there are technicalities that are raised, and if eventually, the other party wins, there may be a legal problem in terms of the legitimacy of those that we claim to have elected.
But I think the APC and the PDP boycotted the election.
And PDP. And I understand they are going to court now because there are two conflicting orders.
Yeah, the conflicting.
The Federal High Court says the election should not hold. Then the State High Court says the election should hold.
Did they actually say the election should not hold?
Well, the thing is that there is going to be maybe Court of Appeal and Supreme Court pronouncements on what is on the ground now. Then, assuming that the governor forges ahead, will he contest on the platform of PDP? Will he win a second term, given the crisis that is going on in that? Because it will be very good to have milestones in the first 4 years.
With this, do you think he has taken away the structure from the FCT minister?
I don't think so. There is a difference between appearances and reality. By winning local government to APP might give a semblance of having taken over that structure. But only time
will tell.
The one thing we must also not take away is that there are also external forces that are backing both sides. I could see the supporters of the former presidential candidate, Atiku, working assiduously for Fubara. For instance, Sekibo, who was a former minister of transport, Austin Okpara, these are Atiku's men. You could see that they were deeply involved in this election. And Atiku was very anxious to coagulate. So there are external forces that are involved in this play. And you could see that it cannot be isolated from national politics. So the ability of the current governor to sustain himself in power cannot solely be determined by mere winning of local government election. Though it's a victory for him. But I don't think that is the end of the battle. So there are still other issues that I think, if they are not resolved, I don't think we can go to sleep and say there is peace in River State.
In other words, the election that happened on Saturday was a free, fair, credible.
I doubt whether that election was free and fair. But at the same time, we must be honest with ourselves. State elections at the state level, have always been won by the governor. So it's in, it is in. I mean, it took the same pattern with what we have seen in other states. In terms of what was strange was that a party that just came about less than 1 month would just sweep, the entire local government, 23 local governments, just like that. So I don't know. But I think I should commend the police and the federal government, at least for struggling to be seen to be independent. And I think the police has been quite fair, and the presidency has been quite fair in their relationship with this issue.
Biko, your thoughts on the election that happened in Rivers State? Was it free, fair, credible, in your opinion?
Well, I didn't monitor the election, and there are certain things that I like to see that I didn't see. The election, I didn't even see voting going on, and they didn't publish results.
Okay.
That's a breakdown of results. Somebody told me that was what happened in other states too. That where did I see results? Then if everyone will simply write results without showing us how
got exactly
things happened,
the breakdown,
without giving us a breakdown, then it's not an election. But local government election in our country is a big farce. It's a big joke. I was told that in Akwa Ibom that Akpabio had to beg before they considered a local government chairman to him. They knew him where he comes from. APC won the local government chairmanship election there. I learned that was considered to him. In other places, the ruling party in the state usually wins all the chairmanships.
But BK, is this how it's going to be?
No, that's why some of us do not think that the so-called independent, state independent electoral commissions are independent in nature. We've seen people come out to say, look, we simply wrote figures. It's not elections taking place in those places. Yes, people will complain too that INEC has its own faults, but what we are having at local government, from a local government election in this state, is a disgrace to our country. And people know it. People know it. Even those who know me now and already expressing about what I'm saying, they know in their hearts that it's a farce. It's not an election it's not elections that
it's election.
Everybody, once you are in power, you make sure that you win all the local government elections. But it still doesn't stop you from losing federal elections.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Ruling, you know how many, when you look at 2023 presidential election, the ruling party lost in so many states, more than 10 states, for example. So people thinking that once you produce the chairman of local government, that is guaranteed. It makes no sense to think like that. Anything can happen in a federal election, but people, they win at all costs for governors. Conducting local government election is something that we should look at, because they simply sit down and write. They write the result. They don't do an election. They don't do an election. And people advised Fubara before now, when he was reluctant to do election and he wanted to simply do caretaker committee, put caretakers in place. They said, no, your mates are writing results. You two go ahead, call it an election, write the names of so-called winners and forget it. So he had that advice and then decided that, okay, I will do an election in October before the Supreme Court judgment now made it mandatory. It was at that point that the PDP now tried to stop that by going to court to say INEC should not provide them with the voters register.
If you like this kind of content, subscribe, like, and share.